All right, guys, welcome to Facility Insurance. You've called today on June 11th. Now, guys, we have an amazing guest with us today. One of our best reps we deal with, guys. I'm not just saying that, truly. And the one, the only, Lindsay Autry with America Financial. Lindsay, thank you so much today for taking the time to come on our call, shed some insight, and just discuss, why Americo is one of the best carriers to use and why they should be the go-to for most agents and even seasoned agents. So thank you guys for coming on the call today.
Absolutely. Well, Rami and Christina, thank you guys. And thank you everybody for allowing me to be a guest with you guys. And Marisa, she is doing an amazing job with Grady. So I'm super excited and happy for her. But I just want to thank you all for letting me come on today and just kind of give you just a few tips, share some things with Americo of, why is Americo number one with not only FFL, but with a lot of groups. If you're a brand new agent or you're even a veteran agent, there's some things that you come to really appreciate when you're building a business or you're, looking to service your clients and you're just really wanting to help people, right? Things that you're going to find that are super important that you probably wouldn't really think of being that, big of a deal when you're starting out is simply the ease of doing business. How easy is it to access the application? How easy is it for you to understand the application and the questions and the simplicity to get through an application, not only you as an agent, but also your client. So how easy is it to, to sign the documents? How easy is it and how fast can clients receive their documents? Because let's be honest, a lot of times and little disclaimer, so I've been with Americo now for 3.5 years. And before I was with Americo, I actually was an agent. I was, right there with you guys. I was 100% virtual sales, phone sales, 100% for 8 years. So these little things made a huge impact on business. And, like I said, the simplicity, the ease, the efficiency, and the quickness can drastically change your business. Where Americo, we are leading all carriers in those areas. So when we're talking about like, why do agents lead with Americo? Why is Americo number one? Is because we also pride ourselves on when agents ask, not only do we listen, but we deliver. And so you guys have always asked for, years ago, it was, can we get a text signature? Absolutely. Americo was the first carrier that came out with a text signature. You'll actually see a lot of the other competitors trying to copy what we have. You guys asked for the IUL. We came out with that. You asked for being able to restructure IUL. We got that for you. You guys asked for a more competitive, I don't even know if you guys asked for a more simple application because I thought our application was simple anyways. But you know what? We will go above and beyond what you don't even ask. You asked for something that was going to be more competitively priced with our final expense. We came out with Eagle Select for you. Making that application, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I was like, oh my gosh, where was this application when I was an eight? I was like, this is amazing. And so we go above and beyond for you guys to make sure that you guys have not only the tools and the products that you need to be able to service your clients, but we are also going to follow that up with the best support. So you've got myself, you've got our assistant team here, you've got our agent services team here, our client services team is there as well. And so whatever it is that you guys need to be successful, we want to know so that we can provide it for you. Because I know the more that we can provide to you, you guys can provide to the families, and that's what it's all about. We're here to protect families. So I know a big thing that we wanted to jump on today and discuss, with Americo, obviously you guys know how easy and simple and fast our process is, but we also want to make sure that you guys know the beautiful thing that we love so much is a bonus. Everybody loves bonuses, right? Like I love bonuses and I love
Thank
being
you.
able to give you guys bonuses. I'm like, Rami, you've got a nice little bonus coming here pretty soon also. And so that was the other thing, we heard from multiple agents and throughout FFL that, trips are nice, going somewhere, it's nice, but, some people just want the cash. And so that was like, you know what? Keep your trips, just give us the cash. And so that's what we did. That is where, we were one of the first carriers that came out with the cash bonus. And you're going to start seeing some more carriers coming on and jumping onto that idea as well. And we absolutely love that we have with our bonus that it's uncapped. And so like we're not going to cap you out at a certain amount that you can earn. Like it is uncapped and it's unreal on some of these bonuses that we're giving out to agents. So going back to the bonus that we just finished up, it finished at the end of May. This was the 6-month qualifying period for agents that we took your business that you issued and paid from December 1st until May 28th, which was a Friday because we don't issue business or we don't pay business on the weekends. But December 1st through May 28th, agents that were able to submit at least 55,000 in U-First credits, which is just 55,000 in annualized premium, and hit the persistency metrics, they've got a 10% bonus coming to them. We are going to be running the final persistency metrics on Monday. And then after Monday, when we run those numbers, that's when checks are going out. So we are super excited that within like the next 7 days, agents are going to be getting some nice big checks right before summer. So we are very super excited. But on top of that now, we are actually, a week and a half into the next qualifying period. And when we release the numbers and we run the final numbers on Monday, we are also going to be sending out the flyer for this qualifying period for the U-First. There are just a few little changes, but don't worry. It's all very attainable. I can kind of let you know from the U-First credits, instead of 55,000, we're just going to bump it up to 60,000. Like if you think about that, might be like maybe 1 or 2 more policies, maybe 3, 3 more Americo policies. And what's a beautiful thing with that, guys, is that every single one of my products, whether it's the IUL, it's Eagle Select, or any of our term products, they all qualify for that bonus. So it doesn't matter what you're protecting your families with. If it's with Americo, it's getting you one step closer to that bonus. And so I have I have a slideshow. I'm not a big slideshow person, but I mean, that's how people learn. I'm like, okay, let's go to this slide and that slide. And another reason why I'm not a big slideshow person is because it just shows how technology illiterate I am with it, because I'm like, how do I do this? Where's this? Okay, I think it's this one. This one. Bear with me.
We got you, Lindsay. We
Oh my
appreciate
gosh,
you.
I feel
Yes.
I'm like,
No, you're good. And
oh,
while you're pulling that up, Lindsay, so just want to touch on a few things you had mentioned. So the main reason why agents should go to you guys is the biggest thing is streamlined process, amazing customer support. And you guys are actually taking the agent's feedback and you guys are applying actual implementation. You're not just listening to the comments, you're actually doing something about it. Like you said, you guys came with the IUL. When I first started, guys, I had no IUL. I had a cashback, the CBO 100. And guys, I have tons of clients in that product, which is still a really good product to have, a term with a shown on premium. But now being able to give a client access to a policy, they can actually access their principal and gain interest while they're protecting their family. That's really a one-up, guys, from having the CBO. On top of that, guys, I was in the field face to face. You guys were not at that point. You guys did not have to deal with signatures and getting someone to go in their house, sign it with your iPad, going to door, having something mess up. The testing entry, guys, allows us to work anywhere. And then, guys, we had Eagle Premier back in the day. Now, Eagle Select, guys, is the leading carrier, as David mentioned, out there for whole life insurance or final expense. And, guys, that increases a ton of volume. So, Lindsay, thank you so much for kind of putting it all together. And, guys, one more thing I will say about the U-First bonus is before, I would have to wait for a check to come in the mail. And, Lindsay, correct me if I'm not mistaken, but I think last year or within the last 2 years, you guys have changed it now. It's automatic deposit with my commission statement. That day you guys run the numbers, if you qualify, you get deposit in 24, 48 hours. Am I not correct with that?
you are 100% correct. So just like your commissions, like we're fast, like we pay commissions the fastest, we're also going to pay the bonuses the fastest. So like it will, once we run the numbers, you qualify that next day, you're going to wake up to a nice little bubble in your bank account.
Oh yeah, and guys, who doesn't want to wake up to an extra, five, seven, 10, $15,000, guys? So definitely write this down, guys, and pick up to that. All right, $60,000 in credits is not 60,000 issue paid volume in credits is not that much, guys. Everybody on this call should hit that first bonus. And now come Christmas time, you guys have a nice bonus you guys can apply on your gifts, etc. So again, thank you so much for the first bonus and all that you guys do, truly.
Absolutely. We are so excited. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit more emphasis on that, like you may be thinking, it's like, gosh, that's really hard to obtain. Obviously, because we're going to look at persistency as well. But here's some of the highlights of the bonus. So again, 60,000 in credits, and then we're going to look at persistency because, like Christina said, it's not about how much we submit. So it's not how much you submit, it's how much we keep, right? The best policy for a client and even for an agent is the one that's active and enforced when the beneficiary needs it. So persistency is huge. It's not just about numbers, but it's making sure that the clients that we're servicing, we're putting them in the right products at the right premiums to service their needs, right? So looking at persistency, we're going to look at that 6-month persistency of 84% or better. So same as last. 12-month persistency of 72% or better, same as this last period. But our premium applied ratio did increase just a little bit up to 79%. And why this is so important, especially if you're a new agent, you may be thinking like, well, what is a premium applied ratio? Well, let me explain to you what that is and why it's so important, and as why this is so important for you as an agent as well. Your premium applied ratio, what this is that for every policy that you submit to Americo that Americo approves and we issue, we want to see at least 79% of those clients making the first premium and keeping it through the free look period. Okay. So if you think about it from an agent's perspective, like I would want 100% of my clients. Like I spent money on a lead, I spent time, which is also money, on the phone with them, going through the application. Maybe you had to call them back a few times, whatever it is. I did the whole presentation. We talked about everything. I know their dogs' names. I know like their kids, the grandkids, like soccer schedule. I know them, right? We would want at least 100, at least majority of our clients making their first premium and keeping the policy. So I want to just touch on this because if you are an agent and maybe you're struggling with your FPA, you're like, why is this so low? Like, what's happening? What I encourage you to do is look at those policies that have either a free look or a no premium incomplete. Those are the two different statuses that are going to affect your FPA. Okay. And I'm sorry, you'll hear me say a FPA because I call it your first premium applied instead of PAR. Some people call it a PAR. I call it FPA. It's the first premium. So if it's incomplete, no premium, or free looked, those are those policies that are going to affect that FPA. And if you're an agent, let me give you some sales tips. Or if you're a manager and you're trying to help an agent that has a low FPA, if you're an agent and you see a lot of free looks, right? This could be something that you may think about or talk to your upline about or talk to somebody that maybe there's something in your closing script. Okay. We also would call it like your soft closing, right? You're telling a client, hey, this isn't permanent. We're just going to see if we can get you approved. You've got 30 days to think about it. You can get the policy. We'll get you approved. See if you like it, look over. If you don't want it, no problem. We can that's a soft close. If you're using that in any of your script or you're saying anything as far as like you have 30 days to think about it, remove that. Because as soon as you say that, you give them permission to cancel. You give them permission to think about something that they shouldn't need to think about, right? And if they are thinking about it, it's because we haven't built up the value of the policy. We haven't built up or fully understood their why, right? A lot of the best clients, you really don't have to sell them. They already know that they need to protect their family. All our job now is to just find the policy that fits their needs and their budget the best, right? So if you have a lot of free looks, it could be because we're soft closing. So go over your sales script, your closing script with your upline. The other thing, like, and I kind of mentioned it a little bit, is that you're not building that value, right? And for me, when I was an agent, I and you know, kind of think of it from yourself, you know, kind of put yourself in your client's shoes as well. When it comes to building value on something, is it something that you're just like, oh, I was actually calling about something else, but you know what? Oh, life insurance, okay. You know, or it's like, who do you want your beneficiary? Well, gosh, I don't even really know who I would. They don't see the value yet. You know, I'm sure we've all had those clients that are like, I don't have anybody that I would put down as it. This isn't valuable to you. Okay. So soft closing and not building the value could be a direct effect on why you have a low FPA if you're seeing a lot of free looks, okay? The other one is the no premium incomplete. Now, a lot of times what I've found with agents that have a lot of those policies that are falling into that status, no premium incomplete, it really could be that we're overselling. We're putting them in a policy with a premium that they cannot afford, right? So we are overselling them. Or we may be picking a draft date that does not line up with their financials, okay? So making sure that we are doing, you know, when we're doing the financial inventory, not just talking about like their bills, because let's be honest, like we don't ever want the last $30 in their account to go to life insurance. We do not want them to have absolutely no money at the end of the day, right? We want to make sure that life insurance is going to be there, that they can add to their expenses without having to take something else away, right? Especially if we're talking about final expense, you know, that most of the people that we talk to, they're on an income, right? They are on that limited income. And so talking to them about they have their normal bills, but let's also ask them, I was like, well, Mr. Jones, you know, let's also take into consideration, you know, it's the summer. It can get really hot in Kansas City. What happens if our air conditioner go out, right? If my air conditioner goes out, I'm going and staying with Christina or Rami and Marisa. I'm coming to Boston. Like I'm out of Kansas City. Okay. So asking like those real life scenarios that, you know, whether it's an air conditioning or maybe it's new tires for their car or refrigerator, washer, dryer, you know, are there, you know, anything that life can come about that would, the first thing, like if they needed a couple, like $100 extra, the first thing they're going to cancel is their life insurance, right? So making sure that we're doing that full inventory with them, we're not overselling for them, making sure that we're getting the right draft date for them can have a direct effect on that FPA. And if you're doing any of those, by changing that, you'll also see a very quick improvement in your FPA as well. So FPA, super important, not just because it's a metric on for the bonus, but for an agent, that's just money that we're leaving on the table or we're losing because we're either soft closing, we're not building the value. You know, you already, like I said, you spent money on the lead already. You spent the time, which is money, with that person. Make sure that we're, you know, putting them in the right place. And then again, of course, no limit on the bonus. Okay, no limits. So that's a minimum $6,000 check for you guys, minimum. And then also I want to throw this out there that if you meet all of the qualifications and you have a persistency of your 12-month, your 12-month persistency is 80% or better, you just took that 10% and you just turned it into 12%, which is a difference of a couple $1,000s. Like it's awesome. So remember, everything that you guys have been submitting and sending to Americo from June 1st up until today and all the way through November 30th is getting you closer to this bonus right before Christmas. Like Rami said, it's a great little, you know, Christmas bonus for you to provide for your family. So let's talk about real quick about about these products that can get you to this bonus, right? Why do the top producers, why does Rami and Heather and, you know, Brienne, why do they all use Americo products and our IUL specifically? Obviously you guys are going to know this, that with Americo, all of our products are simplified issue. They are all instant decision. We do not do fully underwritten products. Everything that we have is going to be done right there on our agent tools platform. You're going to be able to use that text signature. And the great thing with our IUL is that our IUL is 100% protection focused. Like you're talking to your clients, and Rami, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is and I don't know because I can't see everybody, but I'm going to be 100% transparent with you guys. When I was an agent, I will be 100% honest. IUL scared me. I was scared because I really didn't do anything. Like I didn't understand markets. I didn't understand like non-guarantees. I didn't understand the rates, the participation rates, the caps, like all of that terrified me. I was like, I'm final expense, like whole life, like that's easy, right? Or term, simple. You start throwing in all these other things with rates and metrics and, non-guarantees and no lapses and like, you've got interest rates and compound. I was like, I don't want anything to do with it until one day the light bulb went off, right? It was kind of like, oh, I get this. It's not as like terrifying and scary and complicated as I was making it to be, right? So for me, what kind of made it very simple for me is that there's two different types of IULs for the market. You either have a protection focused IUL or you have a cash accumulation IUL, right? And I've had so many agents ask me, is like, well, how do I know which one's which, right? How do I know if my client is more driven for cash accumulation or if they're more protection focused? Well, it's in the questions that you ask them, right? I always knew that if I was talking to somebody and let's say they already had quite a bit of insurance, they already had quite a bit of life insurance, right? And they were looking for something more. And I'd kind of probably will find out what they have. But if they don't have an IUL, that may be my opportunity to be like, listen, you've got a lot of life insurance, which is great. It sounds like your family is going to be protected. They're going to be able to stay in their home. Their bills are going to be covered to take care of, their life moving on. Have you ever thought about, building cash value, being able to use your policy to build cash value, that if later on in the life you need to borrow from it, or, this is a great way that, they say that IULs is a way that you build generational wealth, right? If you're not born into it, an IUL is how you can create it, right? And those are going to be more of those cash accumulation driven clients. Now, if you're talking to somebody, which I think majority of the people that I talk to, they really needed life insurance because they needed to make sure that their mortgage was covered. Maybe they needed to make sure that, their family has something to stay in the home, pay the bills. They're the main breadwinners. They need something that is protection. They need to make sure their family is protected. Like the death benefit, that face amount, that is most important to them. They want to know that if something happens to me, my family has a roof over their head and they can stay in it, right? That's 100% protection focused. Now, and I'll just kind of go off a little tangent right here where, we obviously have, and let me just do this. So we obviously have the ability to structure IULs. And this is also where I got very scared. But when it comes to structuring with an IUL, you can either find it off of target, max cash accumulation, or max cash value, or custom solve. Those are the three different types of ways that you can structure the Americo IUL. And where I have found some of the agents that may be struggling with IULs. Maybe it's because they're having a lot of IULs that they sell. The client loves the IUL. They love the idea of it, but they're lapsing, right? We may have somebody that understands IULs greatly, but a lot of them are lapsing. And I find I did a little study with a group of agents, and what we found with a lot of them is that they were taking these IULs and they were just structuring them incorrectly. That's what happened. And so understanding, when you're talking to your clients and you're asking them, well, what were you expecting to be able to set aside? And they're like, oh, maybe $100 a month. Perfect. So we're going to solve this IUL. We're going to get them what they need. But when I was listening to these agents, the way, and I knew immediately where they were making their mistake in their sales call, was they were talking about the protection of it, and maybe it was $100 for $250 or 250,000, right? Well, the moment they said, well, we could actually maximize the cash value, and by this year it could now have this much cash value in it that you could always borrow against, or you need it and everything, but instead of $100 a month, then it's going to be more like around like 400. Is that okay? But with the 400, you're actually maximizing your cash value with it. And the client was kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, I do want that cash value. Like, I would love to have kind of like they call it like, be your own bank, that, I'd love to have that kind of cash value. But what happened is they took the focus off of the protection, that 250,000, which is what he needed the most, and he was prepared to pay with that $100. Now we kind of redirected the focus to a cash value, which wasn't the intention of the policy in the first place. And now we went from $100 a month to $400 a month. And he was like, well, if I want the max cash, I guess I gotta pay the $400, and maybe I could do it for like 1 or 2 months, but man, I can't afford this, right? And so it lapses. Well, I want to encourage you guys, because this was kind of eye-opening that I didn't even realize until I played around with it, the power that's in custom solve. And what it does to the cash value when you're talking to your clients, and maybe they're at that $100, and that 250 is so important, and 250,000 is so important. That's what they need, right? But you're talking about that cash value, like, hey, listen, I know we've got the family protected right here with this 250,000. It's $100 a month, but let me just bring something up to you. Do you think you have an extra maybe $15, $20 a month? That if we threw in an extra $15, $20 a month, that it's going to build even more cash value for your policy, right? By adding, I think the last illustration I did, by adding $20 a month, it took that no lapse guarantee from like 29 years to like 37 years. Like, it added so much more to that no lapse guarantee period with $20 a month. And why this was so important, because now they're like, yeah, I can add an extra $20 a month. Absolutely. And then when you look at the illustration of how it builds the cash value, when you look at like years like 5 through 8, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And the other great thing about it is like an extra $20, a lot of people can find an extra $20 a month, especially when they see how it's going to grow. Well, guess what? That just gives you another opportunity that when you call them in 6 months, hey, Mr. Jones, I know we've been putting in, an extra $20 a month. Is everything okay? We're doing good with that? He goes, yeah, absolutely. This is great. All right, well, we're going to keep it going, right? In a year, the next 6 months, you call them back in a year, Mr. Jones, hey, we were putting in an extra $20 a month. Is that good? Do you want to like increase it? You want to put another extra $20. You're like, yeah, I can do that. And so now you have taken that client, because that client's not going anywhere. That client is not going to go anywhere. He's got 250,000. He's building cash value. You're contacting him every year. And it's not because we're shopping for a new policy for him, but you're increasing the value that he already has cemented with you by adding an extra $15, $20. It's unbelievable. So if you haven't played around or ran using the custom solve, I highly encourage it, because that's the button, especially when somebody is a protection focused IUL client. Max cash is great, as long as, it's within the budget of the client. I mean, I'm not saying like, don't ever do max cash accumulation or values or anything like that, but making sure that it's within the client's budget and what they can afford is key, right? Because we got to make sure that, we can set them up for a max cash, but if they can't afford it, then it's pointless. So using that custom solve, that's going to solidify that they have the protection, they can afford it. And every year when you call them, they're like, hey, guess what? It grew, we were putting in $20 a month and it grew, $1,800 this year. Let's bump it up to $40 a month. And so that is a way that you can also help improve persistency. Also with our IUL, you guys know that we are going to include our living benefit riders, critical, chronic, and terminal, no additional cost. Doesn't matter what the face amount is. It's going to be built in with all of our IULs.
Not
Then
to
we
cut
went
you
in,
off, Lindsay.
yeah,
I
go
just want
ahead.
to touch on a lot of cute things. So there's two things I've really been picking up on, guys, with America Financial. Truly, it's best for the agent in all the ways because the first bonus, you might have looked at that, and I want to say something. You may look at that and say, wait, they're increasing our metrics. If you think about it, as Lindsay said, if I have a higher first premium applied, more of my clients are maintaining their first policy for 31 days. They have a higher chance of maintaining it for 6 and 12 months. That makes us more profitable. At the same time, they're coming out with products like the IUL, where she just mentioned, where a client can still have the basic solve where they want to help their mortgage, cover final expenses. But now they actually understand the concept of how an IUL can accumulate cash value. We can just do a custom solve, guys, and add, like we said, 10, 15, $20, and actually start to begin to generate the cash value that they were thinking the policy would actually accumulate. And if you think about it, guys, I don't know many carriers that are doing this like this, guys. They're not trying to make us more profitable and give the client better options, guys. So I really wanted you guys to pick up on those two main things that we have a company, guys, trying to make us more profitable as agents and give the client the best policy. And going into this next slide, Lindsay, I'll tell you this. This has probably provided me, I would no joke, maybe 40% extra volume just when you guys came up with Eco Select, because a lot of equity rescue, as you guys on the call, is whole life insurance where you take monthly payments, you multiply it by their mortgage, and you get the face amount or the monthly payment. With that being said, guys, you'd be surprised how many of my clients now are in Eagle Select just because of that low rate that they've been able to come out in the past couple of years. So I just wanted to touch on that, Lindsay. Again, thank you for making that IUL. As a custom solve for me particularly, I've crushed it with some agents and clients. They love it. They love seeing how they can still have the 200,000 and have the additional cash value without sacrificing their death benefit to have the max cash. So thank you for touching on that. I think not a lot of agents really picked up on that, and thank you for explaining it the way you did.
Of course. And I think another way that you can also connect it is that there's a huge difference between max funding and overfunding. And by overfunding by just a few extra dollars can have a huge impact on not only you know the way the policy performs, but the value that it's going to bring and the affordability that clients now have. They're like, oh, wow, I can build this kind of cash value by just adding $15 a month. My $15 a month could turn into $1,800 in a year. Like, wow, okay, absolutely, sign me up. If I could turn $15 into $1,800, sign me up, right? So thank you, Rami. And yes, as he was saying, like Eagle Select, like this is the product, seriously, guys, that changed the final expense market. You know, you may hear like people in previous years, they said, final expense, it has terrible persistency, like nobody's going to use it. It's going to be off the market. Like it's the dying product. Eagle Select is the thing that revived it. And with Americo, we know our old product, Eagle Premier, it was expensive. Like I remember when I was selling like Eagle, it was expensive, and it was either Eagle Premier or GI, which was very expensive. And so that is when, again, we took the feedback that we were getting from you guys as agents that you wanted a product that was going to be a lot more competitive. You wanted the ability to personalize it regarding like the accidental. You wanted to still have like the amazing benefits that we have with the Eagle. And I'm talking about that quit smoking advantage while still being able to approve more clients, because with the old one, it was like as soon as you answered yes to one question, boom, you went GI, right? So with Eagle Select, that is what we did. We lowered the rates. We created 3 different levels of coverage. So now we can actually approve a lot more people, and people that may have what we used to kind of consider like really serious conditions, we can be approving them. And they can actually still be approved for Select 1. They can get Select 2, which is day 1 coverage, right? No waiting periods. And then even the ones that do have a little bit more health concerns or conditions, they still possibly can get a Select 3, which is graded. They don't have to go GI, right? So we took all of the feedback that you guys had, we wrapped it up, and we came out with Eagle Select. We tied the bow on it, and you guys have absolutely been crushing it. Obviously you guys see the difference in the e-app as well. We've got the most competitive rates. We've got that quit smoking advantage, which is going to be available for Select 1 and 2, which you guys know as agents, anytime you hear somebody that's a tobacco user, the premiums skyrocket, right? Well, with Americo, make sure that you remember that even if they are a tobacco user, your client automatically, like they can't opt out. Like, I'm sorry, but Rami, your client, we're going to have to save them money for the first 3 years. Like you just say, Mr. Jones, I'm sorry, Americo, they're going to give you the lower rate for 3 years. Like we gotta help save you money. Sorry about it. But for 3 years, they are actually going to get a non-tobacco rate. And the reason why we do this is because we want to give them an opportunity to try to quit smoking, right? A lot of times people, if there's an incentive to quit, they will. And so we give them 3 years because if they've been smoking and, that probably takes a little bit longer. It's not something that you just, I don't know, I don't smoke, that you just stop. But 3 years, non-tobacco rates. And if they are able to quit smoking in those 3 years, then they get to continue on with their policy with absolutely no changes. And it continues on as a non-tobacco policy, which means their face amount doesn't change and their premiums don't change. Now, if they don't quit smoking, they have a couple options. By default, it is going to keep their premium the same because we don't mess with people's premiums and their money, but their premium stays the same. But instead of maybe, let's say it's a 15,000, instead of that, it's going to decrease down to what a tobacco rate of that premium is with that face amount. So the face amount would drop to match what a tobacco rate would be for that premium. Or if they're like, you know what, no, I really want to keep that 15,000, that's fine. You can keep that 15,000, but now your premium is going to increase to what a tobacco rate would be for 15,000. And again, that's only if they don't quit smoking after the 3 years, right? They don't have to re-health qualify or anything. It just changes the premium or face amount. No re-health qualify at all. And then that e-delivery. Oh my gosh, you guys know how I was talking about in the very beginning, how we have some things that are super important and so amazing to use and ways that you can help improve your persistency. That e-delivery right there could be a game changer. If you're not using our e-delivery option, I highly encourage you to do it, because what that's going to ensure that once we get through the application and the client gets that beautiful approval, you're doing your wrap-up script, you're making sure that they have their policy number, your name, your number, all of that. Within 2 minutes after that client's being approved, they are going to receive their policy in their inbox. They are going to have that in their email. So when you're doing your wrap-up script, you're going to be able to say, okay, Mr. Jones, I need to check your email. Okay, go ahead and open up your email. You should see an email from Americo. Now, this is your policy, Mr. Jones. Okay, this is your policy. I want you to open it, look it over, make sure everything looks okay. But this is another way that I would also kind of use it. I mean, because come on, who likes referrals, right? If you could get a free lead, would you take it? Okay, great. This is what I would always do when I was an agent. I was like, okay, Mr. Jones. And this also especially worked like if somebody had like their beneficiary was like a daughter or, another sibling or even the spouse, right? I would say, all right, Mr. Jones, what I want you to do is I want you to forward this email to your daughter. And by the way, go ahead and put me on this email as well so that she has my contact information as well, right? I want you to put in that and then, let your daughter know that this is your life insurance policy. You want to make sure she has a copy of it. So if something ever does happen, she's got it. She knows how to contact me, the company, and, then it's a great way that you can follow up with her as well, right? Help solidify the sale. You just got a referral and they've got their policy. Because I mean, let's be honest, if it's sometimes if somebody is waiting for a policy to come through the mail, it could take a while. I mean, I don't think it takes very long for Americo to send our policies out, but I remember with a different carrier that my mom had years ago, like it was 2 to 3 weeks. And by the time it gets there, they're like, what is this? Like, I forgot about this. Or they've already spoken with like 5 other people, right? And they no longer remember it. So the more instant and immediate you can show them that they have a policy, this is your coverage, like this is not a quote, like this is your policy, the stickier it's going to be. And I absolutely love using it because you can forward it to your beneficiary and be like, hey, put me on it as well, because I want to make sure that she has my contact information. Perfect. So e-delivery, huge. Text signature, I'm just going to touch on this real quick just to make sure everybody knows. In the e-app, you guys are going to be able to send, you guys will send 2 different text codes to the client. Please make sure every single time, 100% of the time, that text code only goes to the client. It's got to go to the client. This is their authorization. It's their legal authorization for you as an agent to request their MIB and prescriptions to be ran, right? If that text message goes anywhere else other than the client, I hate to say it because I don't like throwing this word around, but you just committed fraud because you're getting permission from somebody that's not the client to run their medical it's like running their credit report, right? It's that important. So making sure that that text code always goes to the client. Now, we also did kind of realize this, and I don't know if you guys know this, but there's been an update to phones that now there is such a thing called a spam in your text messages. If you find yourself in a situation where your client is saying, I'm not getting the text code, have them check their spam folder in their text messages. Like I seriously had no idea. Like for mine, like I have an iPhone. You click on the 3 little lines and there's a box that says spam. You click it. I don't have any. Although the other day when I opened it, there was like 4 of them in there. I'm like, I didn't even know I had those. So fun fact, because remember, I do not do anything electronic at all. There's a spam, there's a new like folder for messages that could be going. So if they're not getting it, have them check the spam folder.
Lindsay, not to cut you off, let's say they're not getting a spam folder. Is there a certain way that the client can text into Americo to verify their phone number?
They can text into Americo to verify their phone number.
Yeah, there's a number that I received that if they're not getting a text, you can text in. They say start and they're able to receive text from Americo.
Oh, yes, yes.
Do you mind dropping that in the chat for us, if you don't mind?
Yes. Hold on. Let me ask somebody. So it's actually not texting Americo. Sometimes what happens is that if somebody ever opted out of receiving text messages from any kind of a marketing, we've all got them, opt out or text yes or things like that. If they've ever opted out of receiving certain messages, it could actually like be blocking their number to where they cannot receive it. And so all they have to do is text this number, and I'm going to get it. And then it'll allow them to come back through again. It kind of like, I don't want to say it opts them back in, but it just removes the block from getting those. Yes.
If that's been helpful, I've heard of that, and I see some agents utilizing it, and I know it's really helpful as well.
Yes, I will
that.
Get that number. Where is Coulter? He's not at his desk. Where is he?
And then while you're going through that too, Lindsay, and when you can you just explain to agents why it's important to log on their portal and check their updates? I know recently I've been getting more emails, adverse decisions, requirements, and on the portal is the top right, or you had mentioned when it came to the America office, check your emails. Can you explain to everyone on the call, and for the new agent particularly, why that's really important to keep up with your emails, keep up with the requirements, and why it's important?
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you brought that up. So every day you should be going into your portal. Okay. Every day you should be going into your portal. You check your commission statements. You also can check your business, right? This is where you go to check on your business. When you click on the little hamburger button up in the right-hand corner, it's the 3, I call it a hamburger button, but it's the one with the 3 lines. And you're going to go and click on your policies. Policies, it's going to show your work list, which these are going to be policies that have been issued, but maybe there is something that's needing to be done, right? Maybe it's a pending outstanding requirement, or these policies are in lapse pending, right? Or cancellations or free looks. So like, those are going to be those policies that you see there that are going to, if nothing is done with them, possibly they will close out, cancel, fall off, and those are going to affect your persistency, right? So you should be checking your work list every single day. And then the next tab over is going to be pending. These are going to be policies that you've submitted. They've probably been approved, but they either haven't issued yet or they're still waiting to be issued, okay? A lot of times, if there's pending requirements for those, it could be because maybe there's an amendment needed, right? And so making sure you check all of those, because if we don't get the needed forms or requirements completed, those are going to close out also, which those are going to affect your FPA. So if you have something, remember when I was saying no premium or incomplete? An incomplete means that there was something pending that we were waiting on a form to get back that we never got. And so we had to close it out because it was incomplete. Okay. So those policies, if you think about it, anything in the work list is going to affect your persistency, your 6-month, 12-month, and so on. Anything that is in the pending tab, those are going to be affecting your FPA. So we wanted to make sure that we get the ones that are from the pending moved into paid, and we're going to keep them in paid. If they show up on the work list, we're going to work them and we're going to get them back into the paid column. There's not a paid column, but I'm going to make a paid column, and that's where we want them to go. Okay.
I like it.
So check your portal every day. And then also up there by that little hamburger button, there's going to be an envelope, and it's going to look like a piece of mail. You will also find emails that are going to go to you regarding your policies or anything that is needed from Americo. Check those messages every day. If you've got a message, it could be because maybe there is a pending requirement and it's going to tell you exactly what it is. Or maybe it's a mod offer or a return draft or, something along that. If you get those emails, make sure you're checking them. Now, I will tell you one of them that I'm trying to get, these don't need to be going to you guys anymore because, if someone's declined, they get declined in the application. But if you have ones that say adverse decision, those are just declines, okay? Which again, I don't know why we send those, but check your emails every day, and not just email, whether you use Outlook or whatever, but check the emails that's in the portal for you. Okay. Because that's going to be pertaining to your business. So check it a lot of times, especially if it's going back to the policies that are in that pending column. Not only is that affecting your FPA, but that also could be commissions sitting there. You have money sitting right there. And until that is fixed and completed, that money's just sitting there. So work those every day, get paid, keep those families protected. And we're going to make sure that we are, staying in communication with you guys. And finishing up, I know we're coming up on the top of the hour. Just wanted to make sure we point out, don't forget about our term products. I know we talk a lot about IULs and final expense, but there's still a huge portion of the population that term is a perfect fit for, right? So, we've got our CBO, which is our cashback option. At the end of the term years, they can get 100% or 50% of their premiums back. We've got our payment protectors, our standalone accidental, the continuation. There's so many great products with that. I'm just going to go real quick through these slides because I wanted to give just a few minutes for any questions and follow-ups, but product highlights, this is a great tool. If you're a brand new agent, and I would encourage you to do this, not only with our term products, but print off the highlights brochure that you can find on the, you can either go through Agent Cafe, but I always encourage people to go through the ffl.americo.com website and go to the microsites. We've got so many materials and brochures and things that you can use as an agent. You can have right next to you. So if you're talking to somebody and you want to know more about, the CBO and you don't know, what are the optional benefits or the optional term riders, boom, it's going to tell you right there, right? Or, what's the face amounts? You can go right here and see exactly what the face amounts or the issue ages. You can go right here and see everything. With all of the term products, we have it with final expense. The IUL, we have all of that for you guys. So making sure that you're using those that can really help you. Make sure also, oh, there's that ffl.americo.com. Make sure you guys also know that you can always reach out to our agent services team. They're here. And I highly encourage that if you have questions, reaching out to them by email. We guarantee that if you have a question and you email the team by 3:30 p.m. Central Standard, you are going to get an answer the exact same day. So same day response, get your questions answered, and be able to continue to protect your families. There's my email address. You can always reach out to me on my email as well. And then also don't forget, follow us on Instagram. I absolutely love seeing your guys' comments. You guys are so great about, sharing our videos and commenting on our things. But what you're going to be able to find when you follow us on Instagram is that, we do videos regarding, product information. We will do like agent recognition. If we've got like an agent of excellence, we do sales tips, important information coming out. We also make sure that you guys are aware of all the live trainings that are coming up. So follow us, share us. We love getting shares and things like that. So I just want to, again, say thank you guys for everything that you are doing. I hope I was able to shed some light, answer some questions. I want to open it up for some questions.
Brilliant. With any comments, questions, feel free to type in.
Guys, put your questions in the chat if you have questions. One question I did have, Lindsay, in regards to Eagle Premier and the smokers, oh my God, the smokers, what is it called?
Quit smoking advantage?
Yes, the quit smoking advantage. Can you just talk a little bit about how long the client has to actually quit smoking and how you guys can verify that they have quit smoking?
Yes, so it's for 12 consecutive months. So as long as they can verify that they have been tobacco-free for 12 consecutive months, then what they do is if they reach out to you as the agent, or they can even contact Americo themselves as well, they can let us know that, hey, I've quit smoking, and then Americo will order a paramed to go out to their home and do the little swabby thing, and then that's all they have to do. It's at absolutely no cost to the client at all. Americo takes care of all of that, and then once that's confirmed, they don't have to do anything else. Once we confirm that they are tobacco free, their policy will be switched over to show that the non-tobacco rate is the permanent rate, and they're done.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. And then Lindsay, Brianna had a question. She said, what are some things that can help with 12-month persistency?
What was that one?
What are some things that can help with 12-month persistency?
So some things that can help with 12-month persistency, definitely checking your work list every day. Simply because, and just so you guys understand like what that 12-month persistency, how those persistencies are measured. So let's start with 6 months. So starting your 6-month persistency is measured based off of whatever today's date is, go back 6 months, okay, which is going to be what month are we in? June?
We'll be in January, was 6 months ago.
Okay, so January 10th. Is it 10th, 11th? I don't know what day it is, guys. We're gonna say January 10th, okay? Because that's, yeah, January 10th. Okay, so January 10th, and then go back another 6 months, which should bring us to June 10th, okay? So those policies that were wrote between June 10th of 2025 to January 10th of 2026, those are the policies that are being calculated for your 6-month persistency, okay? Now for 12 months, what you could do is you go back from today's date, go back 12 months, which is June 10th of, oh my gosh, I have a calendar right here, June 11th of 2025, and go back another 12 months. So that would be June 11th of 2024. Policies that are in that time span is what's being calculated for your 12-month. So this is a rolling. So every single day that number can change because policies will age out and new policies will age in. So tomorrow we'll look at dates from June 12th, June 13th, and it'll just, so those can change every day. So why I say check your work list every day is because you may have a policy in there that's in like a lapse pending that is in that 12 month right now. And if we don't save it, then it's going to make it go down. But those are also ones that if you have any cancellations, let's say somebody canceled, you can call them, get them back on the books, and then it'll keep it. If it did dip down and you get it back on the books and we get it reinstated, it'll bump it back up. So
Thank you so much, Lee, for the clarification. I do appreciate that.
Thank you, Lindsay.
of course.
All right, and Kathleen, I think so what happens, the client would call in. Well, Kathleen asked, with the quit smoking advantage, when and how is possible reduction of coverage or the premium increase happens if they don't communicate to the insurance carrier, Americo, that they've quit? What does that look like per se?
So this is what the process is that Americo, if we have not heard from the client at the beginning of their 3rd year, so this is the last year in the quit smoking advantage timeframe, right? So we send a letter to the client at the beginning of their 3rd year, letting them know, asking them, hey, have you quit smoking? If so, please contact us. If we don't hear from them, then we are going to send another letter to them at the 6 months, reaching out to them again. And if we don't hear from them from at that point, they will get one more letter 1 month before the end of their 3rd year. And if they don't contact us over those 3 attempts to contact them, what's going to happen is it would be the 1st month of their 4th year. So let's say their policy was July of 2022. Okay. Am I doing the math right? I don't do public math, guys, either at all. Let's just say this is their 3rd year. Okay. And July 1st is going to be the beginning of year 4 for them. If my client has not contacted Americo at all, July 1, what's going to happen is that their premium's going to stay the same, but instead of whatever their face amount was, that is when it's going to decrease. And they will get a letter letting them know, hey, just making sure you know that, we've kept your premium the same, but now your death benefit face amount has decreased to this. So we try to contact them at least 3 times. And if they don't reach back out to us, that 1st month of that 4th year is when that premium or face amount would change.
Thank you. Good question, Kathleen. I think 3 is more than enough. And Lindsay, thanks for your time. I don't take too much of your day. I know you have a lot in your very busy schedule. So thank you so much for hopping on. And guys, if you can't tell why America is #1, now you guys know. I really mean that. Full transparency. There's no one better, guys, through their streamlined process, their applications, their client support, customer support, and guys, us for the agents. They really care about us, guys, truly. So Lindsay, thank you so much for coming on the call today. We really appreciate it. We don't take it lightly. And we look forward to seeing you at the next Ignite event and any event upcoming.